Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Today's class will be basically a repeat of last class. We're not going to get to either case today. We'll get to that on Thursday. Thursday, there's no new reading. So this entire week will just be today's reading. The attendance is running, so please sign in. A couple of questions from the poll from last week. Sort of speaks for itself. My head's going to explode. Yes, I can relate. Thank you for clearing up the insanity. I do what I can. No, you're not. Yes, you are. Very. Right. So I get this question line. I just want to address it. The best way to study. I know a lot of you want to know the best way of studying, and unfortunately, the answer is do what I say. You want to do everything else. You want to use supplements. Just do what I say. Before you get to class, try to watch a video from last year. A lot of you do that. It'll become a much more meaningful experience. All of my old exams are posted with sample answers and memos. Do them. Do that. Do you get prosecuted for that one, Kevin? Is that a no? You knocked over his bottle, right? Do the old exams, right? The midterms in a few weeks. Don't walk into that cold. That's how you study, right? Do the old questions, watch the videos, come to class prepared. If you're able to go through all these poll questions and answer them correctly, you're in good shape. If you're not, start getting worried. Come talk to me, okay? That's the way to study. I give you everything you need. There's no need to do other things. And in fact, doing other things will probably waste your time because you're not doing what I actually want. So that's all I can tell you. Any questions before we get started? All right. I want to go through a lot of poll questions today, or at least not poll questions, but examples. The iClicker was not working in my morning session, fortunately. So hopefully it's working again now. All right, let's do this. Where am I? Who am I up to? Okay. Oh, name tags. Sophia. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm working on the names. I'll get them eventually. So Sophia, okay. Thank you so much. So 1A and 1B, these are the same as last time. Let's just start with 1B because it's really the same thing as 1A. What's going on in 1B, Sophia?
So Adam has a present interest in life estate.
Okay. How do you know that?
Because Oscar is giving black acres to Adam for life.
And that means life estate. Okay. Sophia, we know what the present interest is. How do we know what the future interest is?
Since it's not stated, we assume it reverts back to Oscar.
What did you just do?
Reversion.
You said reverts.
Oh.
Don't say reverts.
Sorry.
You're not wrong. What's a reversion, Sophia?
It's when property goes back to...
That's not the definition of reversion. I give you a very specific definition.
Sorry.
And I'm not making an example of her. Do not try to paraphrase what a reversion is. Just give me the exact definition. And trust me, this will make more sense next week. What's a reversion?
Future interest that follows the life estate and goes back to the transfer.
Very good. Reversion is a future interest that follows a life estate. Type today. That follows a life estate and goes back to the who?
Transfer.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. A reversion is a future interest that follows a life estate, goes back to the transfer. Memorize that. It should be burned in your retina, okay? If you try to paraphrase it, this reverts back, you're gonna lose yourself. You'll be in trouble. All right, so Alyssa, Adam has a present interest in life estate. Okay. What is the future interest that follows this life estate? What is the future interest that follows Adam's life estate? Well, what are the different types of future interests? We did this example last class. Do you have it in your notes?
Yes, but my notes are like.
Well, take a minute. Go find it. We did this exact example last class. Start it off.
I think I found it. Can you repeat the question?
This, example 1B, same one as last class. That's the question. What's the future interest?
I want to say fee simple, but I don't think.
No, not even. Hanny, what's the future interest here?
Oscar has reversion in fee simple.
Okay, so we'll get to reversion. We'll get to fee simple then. Why is it reversion?
Because it's going back to Oscar.
What's our definition of reversion? Just walk through those two steps. I know you're giving me the correct answer, but just walk through those two steps. So why is reversion?
Because it's the future interest that follows a life.
Correct, and goes back to
Oscar.
who is the
Transfer.
Exactly. Okay. Trust me. Go through those two steps. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. Okay. It's the future interest that follows the life estate and goes back to the transfer. Here, Adam has present interest in life estate. What comes after that life estate? A future interest that goes back to the transfer. Now, again, I'll come back to you, Alyssa. How do you know that Oscar is a future interest here, not someone else? How do we know that?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Who's named in this transaction? Who are the two people that are named?
Oscar.
Okay. Is it possible that the future interest goes to some unnamed person? Okay, so I'll ask the question again. How do we know that the future interest belongs to Oscar and not someone else?
Because there's nobody else in the transaction.
Good, correct. Pay attention to the names. Pay close attention to names. Okay. In a question with reversion, there's usually only two people named, the transferor and the transferee. Later, we'll see transaction with three people named. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But if there are only two people named, it's almost, not always, but almost certainly can be reversion. You start getting little tricks and different tips you can use. Yes, Carissa.
Would you say that like Oscar has a future interest in reversion in fee simple, or would you leave off the future interest?
Hanny said it correctly. I'll give you the full sentence right up here. We say that Oscar has a future interest in, what is it?
Reversion in fee simple.
Perfect. And you need to finish the sentence, right? You need to finish the sentence. Now, Kimmy, Hanny's correct. It's reversion in fee simple. How do we know it's reversion in fee simple? You're like 95% correct. I want to finish it off. So usually, what's the language that tells us fee simple? What language are we looking for? What are those magic words? What's like the magic words telling us what fee simple is? And his heirs, correct. If I say from Josh to Kimmy and her heirs, that means you have fee simple. Do we see the phrase and his heirs in this example? We do not. But you're correct, Kimmy. How do you know that Oscar has reversion in fee simple? Don't say it. What exactly is he giving to Adam? In? Okay, so he's giving Adam a life estate for his life. So we talk about the bundle of sticks, right? He gives him one stick in the bundle, right? The present interest. What does he keep for himself? Which is called? No, not fee simple. Reversion in. Okay, good. So follow me here, right? We start off with a full bundle of six. Oscar has a full bundle of six to start up. He breaks his bundle in half. He gives the present interest, the life estate stick, to Adam. He keeps for himself the future interest, the reversion in fee simple. What happens upon Adam's death? They come back together, they merge. He now has the present interest and the future interest. He has a full bundle of sticks, it's a fee simple. It's not needed to say here that Oscar gets back reversion fee simple. You have to figure it out on your own, right? With remainders, we'll see later, you specify what kind of remainder it is. But with reversion, nothing stated. Again, just think about this. There's absolutely nothing in example 1b that says Oscar gets it back. And there's absolutely nothing in 1b saying he gets it back in fee simple. You have to figure that out on your own. You understand that? You need to figure that out on your own. If you just put on the exam a future interest reversion period, that's half credit. You're not getting yourself full credit. I need to know his full credit to get reversion fee simple. You need to give me the full sentence. All right? Because it may not be in fee simple. You could have reversion in life estate, which would be weird, but you could do it. You can do it. It's weird, but it's possible. Understood? Right? If this isn't clicking after class, they rewatch this video. Come talk to me, because if it's not clicking now, Thursday is going to be a disaster. All right, again, this is the cake. If you're not at me level 1, you're going to be lost next week. All right. Let's try example 1C. Isabella, what's going on with example 1C? Okay, so let's break this down one step at a time. Okay, 1 second. Adam, some bold for some reason. Adam has a present interest in life estate. Okay, how do you know that, Isabella? Correct. Okay, what's next? How do you know that? After a, which is called a, no, what are the two, there are 2 steps. I just want you to the order I give them to you. Don't, that follows a, and goes back to, okay, is this a future interest after a life estate? Check. Does it go back to the transferor? Check. Do them in that order, please. Just trust me on this. You'll thank me next week. Because when we get to contingent remainders, which you've maybe read ahead, you need to do those 2 steps in this order. If you flip the order, it's going to get screwy. Okay, so Isabel, you're right. Oscar has a future interest in reversion in, and how do you know it's fee simple, Isabel? Well, not necessarily. So here you need to answer bundle of sticks, right? How do you know it's a fee simple? Over what? Be more precise. What does it mean control? I don't know what control is. How do you know it's in fee simple? That's the better answer, yeah. The better answer is he gets a full bundle of sticks back. He started with a full bundle of sticks. He gave 1 stick over to Adam, but after Adam's death, he gets back a stick. He has the entire bundle. That's the best answer I can give. The phrase "and his heirs" will not appear here. The version, you're not going to see it, so you need to just infer it on your own. Everyone with me? Questions on this? Yeah, Trey.
So we're still assuming that everybody
Honest.
is have fee simple.
You're assuming everyone's honest unless they give you facts otherwise.
Okay.
I can do that. Right? I can switch up the facts, but for now, just assume that everyone's honest.
Yeah, it's still a question. When we're doing these examples, we're assuming that for the transfer over, the initial transfer over has fee simple.
That's the question, yes. Unless they give you facts otherwise, you can make that assumption. All right? Yes, Sarah.
Let's do the whole on the exam question.
Sure, that's fine.
I'll just say,
Yeah.
So since you're asking us, so why do we know X, Y, Z? Are we needing to say that, or are we essentially just giving you these answers and we know that everything?
I think if you really want to be thorough, you could say, we're assuming that Oscar has a piece of sorry. I didn't have to say assumption to make here, but you can say that. Yes.
I might be jumping a little ahead, but are we to break down every single part of the first sentence before moving into the
Yes, I didn't get to the second sentence yet. That's my next question. So Pierre, let's do the next sentence, right? You see a period over here, right? Period after life. The punctuation makes a big difference, right? When you see a period, you have to understand this is a different transaction. Remember we read in the first class that they tax each transaction separately? Remember that was like a huge deal? When you see a period, that's another transaction that's going to be taxed. So it's a completely different set of circumstances at a different point in time. It looks like it's just one sentence. This is at time number one and then time number two. There are two different times that we're talking about. So pay really close attention to the punctuation. I'll just put a little dash so just you can signify there's a different set, but make sure you separate them. Okay, so Pierre, we got this sentence, period. It says Blackacre, from Adam to Betty, for Adam's life. What's going on there?
Well, that means that Betty has a present interest in life state for Alfred B.
Oh, you got the French question. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Oh, oui, right? Excellent. No, that's perfect. And I think you said it correctly. I botched my French, but this is cool. Okay, so you're exactly right, Pierre. Thank you. So good job. So Betty has, say it again.
Oh, Alfred B.
Oh, that's beautiful. As a life, as a present interest, magnifique, right? As a life estate for Atrevi. That was not deliberate, but the two have to be saying there. Did I spell that? I think I spelled that right. If I didn't spell right, leave me alone. Right? Betty has a present interest in life estate for Atrevi. Now, here, why is it for Atrevi?
Because it's after another's life or for another's life.
Who's the measuring life here?
Adam.
Adam's the measuring life. So let's just break this down, right? Here, it just says Blackacre from Adam to Betty for Adam's life. Adam is conveying the present interest measured by his life, correct? What about the future interest here? Does that change?
So the future interest in the end, after Betty should ultimately go back to Oscar.
But the future interest here, that I think Isabel said a minute ago, does that change?
No.
It does not. Everyone understand that. The future interest does not change. Adam can do whatever he wants. He can sell his life estate to whoever he wants. Adam cannot change the future interest. He does not have that power. He cannot change the future interest. Everyone understand that point? So this is the same, right? This is the same. Oscar has future interest reversion. That doesn't change. The only thing that changes is that Betty now has his present interest in life estate per Atrevi. Adam now has zero. He's got nothing. So to your question before, yeah, you got to break that each point in time. What I'll also do in the exams, I'll give dates. On January 1st this happened, on February 1st this happened, etc. So that makes it a little bit easier, but you need to break down at each point in time who has what. Yeah, go ahead.
So
I'm sorry, I don't see your name tag.
I forgot it. I'm Armand.
Armand, okay. You can sit there.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just sit
I didn't choose there, I knew your name.
there. Sorry, I didn't want to go.
That's fine.
But, so do we say the Oscar has future interest in reversion piece of the beginning? Because
No, I think what you just say is his interest doesn't change. Oscar's interest is the same. Because again, the present interest holder cannot change the future interest. He can do some stuff about later, but he can't change by himself. All right. We did this example last class, so nothing new. Clark.
For the portrait sorry, Ben. When we end up with maybe more than a transfer and transferee, do we need to specify like whose life as for Adam's life?
Right. So here it's kind of obvious. It says for Adam's life, so it says right there. But you should clarify if you want your notes. The measuring life is Adam. It's not always going to be Adam. It could be someone else entirely that's not even mentioned here. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks. Someone asked me that question in the other class, and I didn't want to answer it, but I'll do it here. I answered it, but I don't want to. You can use anyone who's alive as a measuring life. You can even use some people who are not yet alive as a measuring life. If a woman's pregnant, you can put the child in the womb as a measuring life. You can even say your unborn child who's not even fertilized yet is the measuring life. It gets very weird. So, for example, in the if you read the case with Miss Anna, she was 80, right? We presume an 80-year-old woman can have a child. In property, anyone is fertile, no matter what age you are. Gross, it's called a fertile octogenarian. Actually, I shouldn't say gross. That's mean. But that was mean. I'm sorry for any. That was mean. I take that back. But we presume anyone can have a child. But it also gets kind of gross the other way. That's the other way is gross. Children are presumed to be able to have children also. It's called the precocious toddler, which is if you just abandon that one altogether. So you have the fertile octogenarian and the precocious toddler. Property law is effed up, just to put it bluntly. But we presume anyone can have a child at any point in life. Oh God, Trey, save us, please.
So the measuring life though can only be made from the transfer that has
The transfer designates who the measuring life is. So in this case, Oscar, or Oscar designates who the measuring life is. All right, everyone good? Example 1C. Yes, don't tell me your name. It's Trey.
So when Adam gave the life estate to Betty, he didn't change the future
No, you can't.
at all.
You
So
can't.
if Betty gets hit by a bus, it goes back to
No, this is a good question. Someone asked this last class. I think Deborah, you're next. What happens if, in this question, Betty gets hit by a bus? What happens to the Blackacre?
Wouldn't they assume they would go to her heirs?
It goes to Betty's heirs. And Betty's heirs hold it until what point, Deborah? Until,
Her present interest is up.
which is when?
I don't know, they all die?
No. What interest does Betty have?
I guess until Adam were to pass away.
Yes. The second Adam dies, it goes back to Oscar, but not a second earlier. It stays with Betty or Betty's heirs. Betty's heirs basically will hold on to her life estate. It does not go back to Oscar prematurely. He doesn't get a freebie. Isn't that weird? When you have the life estate for Oscar V, your kids can inherit whoever your heirs are, that's fine. But it doesn't go back to Oscar until Adam dies. You're just waiting. I mean, it's kind of morbid, right? With a life estate, you're just waiting for someone to die. Oscar's just waiting for Adam to die so he gets it back. Everyone think? It's funny, you know. If you love someone, you give them a fee simple. Don't give them a life estate, right? No, it's true. It's true. Think of the second case, right? This guy loved his wife so much. You know what? If he loved her, you give her the entire bundle of sticks. Give her a fee simple. None of this life estate business. Because he chained her to the land. She could not escape. When you get to a life estate, they're stuck. Like on Valentine's Day. Did any of you guys get a fee simple yesterday? No. Any bundle of sticks? No. All right, I'll stop. 2 months salary, say with fee simple, right? That's what you want. If you like, I put a fee simple on. Okay, I'm done. Now I'm really done. I'm done. I am so done now. 2A. Andres, save us, please. I'm having too much fun in property. Way too much fun. At least I am. Maybe you're not, but I am. 2A, or let's go 2B. Blackacre from Oscar to Adam and his heirs. What's going on there?
Adam now has a present interest in life. Fee simple.
Okay. Adam has a present interest. Fee simple. And what's the significance of that? What does that actually mean?
Adam now has the ability to decide the future interest of that.
Correct. He controls the present and the future. Right? It's weird. We do not say there's a future interest in fee simple. It's not said. We don't use that sort of language. What we do say is that Adam has the present interest in fee simple, which means he can control what happens after his death. A life estate holder cannot do that. A life holder can only control it so long as he's breathing, right? But after he's dead, it's someone else's problem. But critically, there's no reversion here. There's no remainder here, right? When you have a fee simple, there cannot be a reversion or remainder. Why? Because those follow a life estate. That's what a definition matters. You cannot have any sort of reversion or remainder after a fee simple. Everyone with me? All right, so Victoria, try out 2C. What's going on there?
Adam has a present interest in fee simple.
Okay, so it's one at a time. And again, there's a period. So please, everyone, just pay attention to the punctuation. So say Adam has a present interest in what?
Fee simple.
Correct. And then we get to the period, Victoria. What happens after the period?
And then, so separate from that, and then has a present interest in fee simple.
One more time, I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Betty has a present interest in fee simple.
Does Adam retain any interest?
No.
Correct. Now Betty has a present interest in fee simple. Correct. Once you convey your bundle of sticks, you're out. You got nothing left, right? So the first one, Oscar had the fee simple. He gave the full bundle to Adam. Fee simple. Adam then gives a full bundle off to Betty. Fee simple. Adam has nothing left over. Simple, right? No pun intended, but a bit straightforward. Okay. Let's skip those. I think we already did those. All right. Let's go to number 4. Who am I up to? Molly. All right. Let's do number 4. What's going on in number 4? Just talk it out for a minute. 4A, that is.
First, Alex has a present interest in life.
Okay, good. Stop right there, right? Alex has a present interest in life estate. Right? Is there a reversion, Molly, that follows this life estate?
I want to say no because of the second part of the sentence because it's a comma.
Oh, that was such a good answer. Say it again, please.
I want to say no because of the comma and not the period because there's a second half of the sentence.
What's the definition of reversion?
Future interests that followed a life estate.
Okay, so does this follow life estate? Is there some future interest after this life estate?
Yes,
Check. What's the second requirement for reversion?
to go back to the transfer.
Does this go back to the transferor?
No.
Who's it go to?
Baker.
Baker. A third party. I like that, Baker. Okay, so what do we call a future interest that follows a life estate and goes to a third party? Correct. A remainder. That's the definition, friends, of a remainder. I will repeat it. A remainder is a future interest that follows a life estate and goes to a third party. A future interest that follows a life estate and goes to a third party. The difference, right? A reversion, I can't put them both on the screen at the same time. Or actually, I can copy and paste. I can do whatever I want. All right. Remember when I took the bar, they disabled copying and pasting, which was very frustrating. And this idiot accidentally put, so there was, question 1 had like 5 subparts, right? So I put subpart 1 into the box for question 1, and then subpart 2 in the box for question 2, but I realized they should be in the same box. And I couldn't cut and paste, so I said, screw it. I just left them there, but the entire rest of the exam in the final box. I passed. So, but cut and paste is a very useful feature. I don't know why one disables it. So just contrast your definitions, right? Just put these in your notes right next to the other. A reversion is a future interest that follows a life estate. Okay. Future interest that follows a life estate. Same. The difference is the second part. Reversion, it goes back to the transferor. Remainder goes to a third party. In this case, Baker, right? Baker. Or Betty, if you will. I tried to switch to gender neutral names. I don't know. I was thinking about this the other day. It makes it easier. So Ollie, Alex, Baker, Chris. You know, it took me. I was actually a baby name website trying to find good ones. So it's not good for O. There's just very few gender neutral names with an O. Ollie's the best one I could find. Remainder. So let's go back to our question, number 4B. I'm sorry, 4A. We say Alex is a present interest in life estate, and then Molly. So what does a Baker have?
Baker has a future interest.
Keep going.
In remainder.
Keep going. You're not done yet. I didn't put a period.
In fee simple, because.
Yes, that's correct. Why is it in fee simple? Bingo. It says it right there in heirs. Very good. Baker has a future interest in remainder in fee simple. Again, how do you know it's remainder? It's a future interest that follows the life estate and goes to a third party, Baker. Baker's not the transferor or the transferee. She's some third party just kind of floating around. How do you know it's in fee simple? It tells you. It's a lot easier to spot a remainder because it says it right there in fee simple to Baker and his heirs, right? Reversions are harder to spot. Remainders are more difficult for reasons I'll explain next week. That's why I would do reversions first. So Baker has remainder. Amadi, does Oscar, does Ollie have any interest here? Does Ollie have a present interest?
No.
Does he have a future interest? He's out. He's at nothing. This is why I told you if there's 3 people, right, it's more likely it's going to be a remainder, right? If there's only 2 people, probably reversion. 3 people, probably remainder. And there's no reversion here. Unless we'll get to the next example, you'll see how it tweaks. Yeah.
I think you're gonna answer the next example.
Maybe. If I am, just want to wait just 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll wait. If I don't, you can yell at me, okay? Yeah, you know what your question is going to be about. Pause it. Everyone get 4A. All right, Trey, you want to give me a hand with 4B, please?
Okay.
So what's going on here in 4B?
Alex has a present interest in life estate.
Okay, so let's take this one step at a time, friends, okay? So Alex has, say it again?
Present interest in life estate.
Okay, Alex has a present interest in life estate, okay? Then we have a comma, right? What happens after the comma, Trey?
Some remainder.
Who has remainder?
Baker. Have a remainder interest.
Baker has a future interest. Just trust me.
Future interest.
I know you're gonna hate it, but just do what I say.
I think I can.
Yeah.
Work my way through. So, Baker has a future interest in remainder in life estate.
Correct. Very good. What's your question, Kyle? Okay. What was your question?
It was.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Maybe I'm gonna answer it next. Okay. Okay. If I don't, yell at me. Okay. Everyone see this, right? Ollie started off with the fee simple. Ollie the full bundle of sticks. He gives a life estate stick over to Adam or Alex. Alex has his life estate. Baker has a future interest that follows the life estate. Trey, why is this a reversion and not a remainder? Just walking through the two checkpoints.
A remainder and not a reversion.
Why is this remainder not reversion?
Because it's the future interest is not going back to the transferor.
Who's it going back? Who's it going to?
A third party.
Goes to a third party. That's remainder. Now, why is it a remainder in life estate? You're correct, but tell me why.
Because that's all that Alex had. I'm sorry.
What about this transaction tells you the remainder is in life estate?
It just says for life.
For life. Yeah, this is easy. With the remainder, it tells you what's going to be. It's a remainder, it tells you what's going to be. And whose life? Who's measuring life here, Trey?
It would be for Baker's life.
Baker's life. Baker's the measuring life. All right, come with me. Now, Jason, let's just walk through this one step at a time, right? Alex is a life estate. What happens when he dies? What happens when Alex dies?
The future interest goes back to.
No, when Alex dies, what happens here?
Are we on 4B or 5?
I'm on 4B. That's what I've been on for the past couple minutes.
Okay, when Alex dies, the interest goes back to Ollie.
No. That's not correct. Read it. Read 4A. 4B, I'm sorry. Just read it. Read it out loud.
Blackacre from Ollie to Alex for life, then to Baker for life.
Okay. What happens when Alex dies?
It goes to Baker for his life
Why does it go to Baker?
because he's the third party pension.
And what do we call Baker's interest?
Future interest
More specific.
in reversion.
No. It's only on the board. I mean, it's on the screen. I mean, yeah, I can.
Interest in remainder.
But why is the remainder?
It follows a life estate, but it goes to the third party.
Okay, so Baker has remainder. What happens when Baker dies?
Goes
In other words, how long does Baker keep it for? How long does Baker keep Blackacre for?
keeps it for the duration of Alex's life.
No, that's not correct. Who's the measuring life? We just said it a minute ago. Who's the measuring? No. Who's the measuring life for Baker's life estate? Baker. Okay, try it again. What happened when Baker? How long does Baker keep it for?
For the duration of his life.
Okay, for duration of Baker's life. What happens when Baker dies? Where does Blackacre go?
It goes back to Ollie.
What do you call that future interest that Ollie has?
Reversion,
Why is it reversion?
because Ollie was the initial transfer.
Correct. And Ollie has a reversion in. Finish it off.
Simple,
How do you know it's fee simple?
because he was the original transfer.
And now what does he have back?
He has back his fee simple.
Okay, close enough. Good. All right. Baker has a future interest in remainder in life estate. But because the remainder is not in fee simple, we have to keep going. There's got to be at least one more future interest, right? Someone always has to own property, right? It can never be that someone dies like, oh, I don't know. There always has to be someone who gets it. In fact, if there's no one who gets it, the courts have to rewrite the conveyance. Someone has to get property. So we say that Ollie, our friend Ollie, has a future interest in, what's it, Jason?
Remainder.
No, you said it
Sorry,
before.
reversion.
Reversion. In,
Fee simple.
thank you, very good. Ollie has a future interest in reversion and fee simple, right? Ollie gets it back after Baker's life estate terminates. Say it differently, Baker dies. Right, but when Baker dies, Ollie gets it back. All right. Now, Daniel, what happens if Baker dies before Alex dies? So in other words, let's just say Baker dies today and then Alex dies tomorrow. All right, what happens to Blackacre?
It
Baker
goes back to Ollie.
right away?
It goes back to Ollie.
Baker's already
once
dead.
The second Alex dies.
Correct.
Because Alex
If Baker dies first and then Alex dies the next day, it immediately, Blackacre goes immediately back to Ollie. Again, Ollie's waiting for both for both Alex and Baker to be dead. Once they're both dead, it doesn't really matter the ordering, it goes back to him. Right? If Alex dies first, okay, that's cool. Betty gets hold on to it. B gets hold on to it. But it goes back after they're both dead. Kyle, did I answer your question yet? Yes. Which one was it?
What happens after?
I knew it. I knew that was your question. I told you I knew it. So you're not the first one, but I knew that was coming. I didn't want to get there yet. Okay, we good? Good. Is that a hand return or just a? Okay. Everyone get 4. What? 4B. Everyone get 4B, right? Alex has present interest in life estate. Baker has a future interest remainder in life. But you're not done yet. There's got to be someone else, and it's going to be reversion. Usually, if there's going to be a remainder that's not in fee simple, there's at least one more future interest. Just you got to check yourself. Don't just stop at Baker because then you're not full. To get full credit, go all the way back to Ollie. And why isn't fee simple? Because this is Trey's question a minute ago. You assume he had a fee simple to start with, and at the end he gets all of his sticks back, and he has fee simple. Ollie's just sitting around waiting for everyone else to die. Right? He knows he's going to get it eventually. Maybe his heirs are going to get it, but his family will get it back. This is a screwed up topic. It's messed up, but that's how it works. You wait for someone to die. Hey, with me. Oh, yes, Grant, go ahead.
So when Ollie has a future interest in reversion of fee simple, is that when Alex, is that based on Alex dying, or that's just?
That's what he has right now. Right? These are the interests created when the conveyance is drafted. Right? This is what's created when the conveyance is drafted, when the instrument's drafted. It's possible that Baker dies the very next day. She never gets a damn thing. Right? We say, what are the interests when this is drafted? What happens afterwards doesn't really change anything, right? So what happens afterwards is spelled out. This is an important point. When you write this conveyance, you have to anticipate all the various things that can happen. It's like, okay, he dies first, if she dies first, you have to sort of game it out of your head. And if you can't bet, you're in a bad conveyance. Right? If there's a gap where it's not clear who actually gets Blackacre, the court can actually pull the conveyance, they were not going to enforce it. Think of the case, right, where it said, do not sell my house. The court says, oh, we're just going to strike that out, we're not going to enforce it. You have to write things with precision. So at any point in time, you know what's going to happen to Blackacre. Does that answer the question, Grant?
Right, I'm just trying to ascertain, so those three sentences are the rights based on the question alone, and then you tease the hypothetical about what if Baker dies today, then Blackacre would go back to Ollie.
Well, but both have to be dead. If they're both dead.
Oh, yeah, excuse me, I left that part.
Alex has to die first.
Gotcha.
But if they're both dead, it goes back to Ollie. That's correct.
Okay. No more questions. Thank you.
That's okay. And Gabriel.
Just to clarify, you were saying that if we end on life instead of future,
There's something else. There's obviously, I'm not saying always, but there's something else lurking, right? If the last sentence is for life, that should clue that, okay, there's something else going on. We got to figure out who it is. It's not always going to be obvious who the other thing is. This one's actually easy because there's only 3 people involved. But if they give you a transaction with 6 people, you have to do your homework and sort of slot through it.
But there are exceptions to where we would have.
Oh, my friend, there's so many exceptions to this class. I don't want to get into them. There's exceptions to everything, but just one step at a time. Yes, Deborah.
In the event that Alex is alive, Baker has the future interest. It
Correct.
would be the same as the question I answered, where we go to our heirs until it
Yes,
expires, and then it goes to all.
correct. So, if Baker, sorry, I should never use the name of dying. I'm sorry. If Baker is dead, her heirs don't get anything because she had a life estate.
So it would go back to Alex.
Immediately. This was, I think, Trey or Jason's question. It immediately goes back to Ollie. Right. So
Would it only go to the heirs, like the question that I answered?
if it goes fee simple, right? Because go back to 4A. This was your question a few minutes ago, right? In 4A, it was Baker and her heirs. Right. 4A is Baker and her heirs. 4B is Baker for life. You see the difference there, right? Baker's heirs will never get a thing. You'll never see the Blackacre. It won't be theirs. Oh man, we're doing good. It's 45 minutes for 3 questions. This is how this rolls. This is why I get so slow. Everyone get those examples. If you don't, please go back after class and revisit and just watch this video over and over again until you get the examples. I only did a couple examples, like 45 minutes. Everyone get the difference between remainder and reversion, right? Reversion is a future interest that follows a life estate, goes to a third party. I'm sorry, go back to the grantor. Future interest that goes after a life estate, it goes back to the transferor. Remainder, future interest that goes after a life estate, it goes to a third party. Just ask those 2 questions and you'll be in a much better position. Understood? All right, one more doctrine we have to discuss on this topic, then we'll move on to other things. We think in terms of the bundle of sticks, right? I have a full bundle. I split it up. I get one future interest for myself, present interest for someone else. Later they merge. I get the full bundle. That's called the merger doctrine. Okay? The merger doctrine. All right. What's the merger doctrine? The merger doctrine is when the same person has both the present interest and the future interest. The merger doctrine is when the same person has both the present interest and the future interests. When the same person has present and future interests, they merge together, and that person has fee simple. Right? So let's take a look at example 5a. John. John. Obviously parts of names. Almost want like a video game where like your name sort of hovers over your head. That'd be much easier. All right, John. So let's look at example 5a. What's going on here? Just one sentence at a time.
Okay, the person is Alex has a present interest in life.
Okay, so Alex has a present interest in life estate. What comes after that, John? Or the future interest?
The next sentence.
No, not the next sentence
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
Period. In that sentence, what's the future interest? Yeah, it's got to be one.
Oh, Ollie has a future interest.
What do you call that?
Ollie has a future interest in feasible.
What kind of future interest?
In reversion of feasible.
Why is it reversion?
Because it's going back to the original transfer order
After a,
after.
what are the two requirements? Don't skip the first one. I've repeated it a dozen times. And doing that, everyone always wants to go to the second step. Just do the first step first. What's the definition of reversion, John?
That follows the life estate.
Okay, so do them in the right order. It's a future interest that follows a life estate. Is that true here?
Back to the original transfer.
Check. And then goes to the grantor, right? Transfer. Okay. Don't take the shortcut. You'll regret it. Always a future interest in what, John?
Reversion and feasible.
And how do you know it's in fee simple? This is a good question. I'm asking it.
Because he can control what happens after his death.
Correct. But give me in terms of the bundle of sticks, right? Just help me out here.
You get full or total control.
When will he have full control?
Whenever Adam.
When Adam kicks the bucket, right? Okay. When Adam dies, Ollie will once again have the full bundle of sticks. So, right. Ollie had the full bundle of sticks. He split them up. He gave a life estate over to Adam, and he kept the futures for himself. All right. We have a period. Another transaction. So, Kyle, it says, then Blackacre from Alex to Ollie for Alex's life. What on earth am I doing there? What's going on here? What on earth is going on in that second sentence?
Would that be Ollie has a present interest in life, in life estate per option?
You're correct, right? I'm not going to write that, but you're correct. Explain why you think that's the answer.
Because Alex,
What does Alex have to give? What's the only interest he has? What's his only stick?
the property while he's alive,
And what's his interest while he's alive? What's that called?
present interest,
In
life estate,
measured by whose life?
his own.
Okay. So the only interest Alex has is a present interest measured by his own life, right? And then he gives that interest back to Ollie. And so what would that interest be called for Ollie?
Another present interest
In?
in life estate per option.
Okay, now I want you to finish up, Kyle. You're almost done. What happens, though, if Alex has both the present interest in life estate and the future interest in reversion?
It would merge back in the fee simple.
Perfect. Yes, fee simple. Exactly right. After the period, Ollie is fee simple. I want you to understand why. There are two interests. There's a present interest in life estate and a future interest in reversion. Right? After the death of Adam, or Alex, it goes back to Ollie. Ollie bought out the future interest. Ollie bought out the present interest holder. He bought him out. And now we say that Ollie is both sticks. He has the present interest that he got over from Alex and his own future interest. When you have both the present and future interest, they merge. You have to be simple. You cannot hold a future interest against yourself, right? if you have a present interest and you have a future interest, they'll merge together. You cannot have separate interests. The interests just vanish. This is a very easy way for me to test you, figure out what's going on. Because this is a very easy example, right? Just 2 sentences. But if I have like 8 or 9 transactions, and then somewhere in the middle, they transfer the present interest back to the grantor, boom, the question's over. But I can just slip that in the middle. If you're not paying attention, the question's over. It's fee simple. And everything else doesn't matter. I've done that before, and I trip people up every year. Once you have the present interest going back to the future interest holder, it's a fee simple, my friends. The question's over. Now, what second, Anwar, I can trick you again. Here he's conveying his life estate. You don't have to convey that. What if he conveyed something else? It's possibly conveyed something short of his life estate, something else. So it doesn't always have merger. But be very careful when there's a backwards flow, when it goes from the present interest back to the grantor. Just be on the lookout for a merger question, because it's so easy for me to do this. I have like 8 transactions, just slip in the middle. There's a merger, and then the question's over. And more.
Since Ollie's original transfer for, we don't have to say that Ollie has a present interest in fee simple. We can just say Ollie has fee simple.
You can say that. Yeah, I mean, that would be correct. You should say fee simple. You don't really specify present or future, but you can. Yes, Bree.
Two questions. So is it proper to first say how something about Ollie has a present interest in life estate for us to read, and then say
I wouldn't, and the reason why I didn't write on the board, Kyle was correct. But the second that conveyance is written, it merges to a fee simple. It never actually exists as life estate for attribute. It never happens, right? It's like almost like it's done. So in theory, Kyle is 100% correct. Her reasoning is solid, right? Her reasoning is solid, but it never happens. The second you put a period in that sentence, it's a fee simple.
And so it's not necessary for us to explain to you that we.
No. But you explain why, though. I think Kyle's explanation is good. You say the reason why there's a merger is because the life estate merges into the reversion and creates a fee simple. That's what you would say. Right? Do you have 2 questions or just one?
Yeah, the other question I had was, so it could have been, like, perhaps it would not merge if it was a 4 tribute on someone else's life.
Correct. Who's still alive.
Or yeah, actually is still alive.
Well,
like that would be kind of how you would avoid the merger.
no. Well, look. Students like changing my questions. I keep doing. No, it's a fair question, right? Whatever interest Alex has is his interest. And if he conveys that interest back to Ollie, it is merger. It doesn't matter to measure like this.
Okay.
Right? So this was, you're making me do it, fine. I hate changing questions because it confuses people, but I'm going to do it because it's a good question, right? Let me just change it a little bit because it won't make a difference, right? Let's just call this 5A1. Okay, so let's just, okay, this is for Bree's question. I think this is your question. Yeah, this is your question. It's like this, right? Blackacre from Alex for life of Baker, and Baker from Alex, Ollie for Baker's life. What's the present interest here, Bree? What's
So Alex has a present interest in life estate for attribute.
who's measuring life?
Baker.
Yeah, and with measured by Baker's life, correct? Okay.
All right. And then next.
And then what does Ollie have in this question?
And then.
What does Ollie have?
Oh, okay. Ollie still has two principal.
No, not yet.
Well, he will after Alex does. So right now.
What's his present interest?
Ollie has a future interest.
Good.
In reversion.
Correct. In?
In fee simple.
Okay, good. Now we get to the period. What happens after the period, Bree?
Okay. Ollie has a present interest
In?
in, 403?
No. What does Ollie have after he gets the life estate back from Alex?
We have fee simple.
He has fee simple. Why is it fee simple?
Because he already had the future interest and now he's been given the present interest.
He's got both. Doesn't matter who the measuring life is, right, Bree? Makes no difference. See, now the harder question, though, right, would be, what if I'm going to change one more time. Plus 582. And this would be a very mean question, but I can show you. Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? You see the problem, though, right? Alex had a life estate measured by Baker's life, not his life. Then he gives back to Ollie a life estate measured by his own life. Can that work, Bree? Well, it would. So basically, the way this works is even though it says Alex's life, it basically means Baker's life. Right? Because if Baker lives beyond Adam, it doesn't matter, right? The estate's measured by Baker's life. So no matter what he writes here, Ollie does not get it back till Baker dies, no matter what. So this is what I thought you were asking also, I wasn't sure. But you have to be very careful who's the measuring life. It is. This is a transaction that can't exist really, but the court would just sort of cross and say, we really mean Baker. You can't convey more than what you have, and its only stick is you have a life estate measured by Baker. Trey.
So basically the merger doctrine is, it doesn't matter what the president is, just that he's getting the president back.
It's going to bounce back and forth. Doesn't matter, but the reversion system waits for the guy to die.
As soon as all I get that president back, doesn't matter who it's from.
Merger.
It's merger status. So he can definitely like exclude people from it. He's got the full money.
That's right.
So he can take Alex off.
Yep. Yep. Once Baker dies, that's right. And more.
So in this scenario, you mentioned it be made by Baker's life instead of Alex's life, even though you wrote it like that. Wouldn't that be relevant because Ollie would have both present and future interest, so.
But you'd have to wait for the death of Baker. No matter what, it's a life estate measured by Baker. You have to wait for Baker's death. It's in the second transaction that Alex screwed up. The second transaction, he gave more than what he had. He gave less than what he had. Yeah, it's crazy. Courts basically take a little blue pencil and just say, nope, that's not what you meant. We're going to cross that out. They do it all the time. What's going on? Questions. All right, let's do, is Zach in there? You're waiting forever, my friend. You're just like dreading it, right?
Super excited.
I know. I'm sorry. All right, help us out for question 5, which I jumped over 100 times. Okay, sentence by sentence. Do the first sentence first. What's the present interest in the first sentence?
Baker from Ollie and Alex into Baker and her here. Okay, so Alex would have the present interest in life estate.
Correct. Alex has present interest in life estate. Okay, what comes after that there, Zach?
And then it would be Baker has a future interest in fee simple.
You're not done yet. You didn't give me the right word.
In remainder in fee simple.
Why is it a remainder?
Because he's not or it comes after a life estate and he's not the original transferor.
Who's Baker?
Baker is a third party.
Third party, magic words. Thank you, sir. Okay. Alex has a present interest in life estate. Baker has a future interest in, Zach, what is it?
It's in remainder
In
fee simple
how do you know it's in fee simple?
and her heirs.
Excellent. Very good. Baker has a future interest in remainder in fee simple. Nothing new there. Okay, period. Does Oscar have any interest in this question, Zach?
Us,
Does Oscar keep any interest here?
no.
No, he does not. All right, Gary, I think you're next. So let's do the second sentence after the period. It says, then Baker, from Alex to Baker for Alex's life. What's going on there?
Sorry, I'm trying to see it on the screen.
Is my font not big enough? I can make it a little bit bigger. It's hard though because I can't fit everything at once.
Yeah, you're standing like right there, and I'm trying to see that screen. It's just, sorry.
Okay, then tell me to move. I don't moving. I use the entire classroom here. I'll walk over here.
Okay, so second sentence, Baker has a future with.
Oh, you can't see it now. Scroll. See, that's the problem. When I make it a bigger font, you can't see it all at once. That's the professor trade-off, right? All right, 5B, go. Second sentence, what's going on? What's going on there? What is happening? Plain English.
So Alex is giving it to Baker.
What's it? Never say it.
Or Blackett.
Don't say Blackacre. What interest is Alex giving to Baker?
Present interest.
And what's his present interest?
Present interest. Like the same.
Okay. Alex is giving Baker his present interest in life estate. Who's the measuring life?
Alex.
Okay, what do we call that type of interest? When you give someone else life estate measured by a life.
Someone else's pure attribute.
Okay, life estate per attribute. Very good. All right. But what happens, Garrett, when the same person has both the remainder in fee simple and the life estate?
They just merge.
And what happens with the merger? What happens to Baker's interest?
Fee simple.
Baker has fee simple, right? Because of the merger doctrine, Baker has fee simple. Right? But again, Adam gave to Baker the life estate per attribute. But Baker also had the remainder. When you have their life estate and the remainder, they merge together and makes a fee simple. Everyone with me? Everyone get merger doctrine. Again, I test on this almost every year. It's so easy to do a merger question because if you're not paying attention, you lose it. Right? You lose track of the transactions and then you're done. You do all these crazy things. It's like, oh, it's pretty simple. It's the most easiest one. Oh, yes, go ahead, Andres. Yeah, I mean, if you're doing a full sentence, that'd be nice. Yeah, you say, because the merger doctrine, because this was actually Bree's question a few minutes ago, right? You have to explain why he has a fee simple. And this is a general point. On an exam or otherwise, just tell me the answer is not enough. It's always why. Why is it fee simple? Why is it reversion? Okay, it's after life estate and the third party, right? The remainder. You have to spell out the why. Give me the what is good enough for a B. If you want an A, you have to tell me the why. Law students are great at telling me the what, but the why is harder. Deborah, okay?
Just a quick question. I know for other things, the order doesn't necessarily matter. For the merger doctrine, does it matter if the future or present interest came first, or just as long as they have both?
It's a really good question. I think you could probably have a situation where someone acquires the present interest and then later they get the future interest. You could do it both ways. Think of like the ring, right? Remember the ring that was lost at the mother left the ring in the sink in the bathroom? I think you could do it out of order. Yeah. So let's just say, in January, you get a future interest in Blackacre. And then in February, you pull up the present interest. Oh, merger. You get fee simple. So yeah, you can flip it around. It's a good question. I think I have an example like that in the book, but you could do it. Trey?
Just so I'm not crazy, we didn't read about merger doctrine, right? In our reading?
I don't know, is it? It's in the notes I give you. Again, I don't like the way the book lays things out. Now you see why I don't like it, because it.
Just make sure it wasn't like the case that.
No. I think it's definitely in the reading I gave you, the one I wrote. I don't know if it's on the book. Yeah, you'll get to it later. I mean, it will tell it to you in like 20 pages when you no longer need it. So now you have it. Daniel.
Somewhat of her question, if you get the present interest after you get the future interest, but the present interest is in a say it's present interest full outer V, so it's not full, would the merger still apply to that?
You need the full bundle of sticks.
Okay, so,
The only way the merger doctrine works is if you have the full bundle of sticks.
okay.
If you're missing even one little stick in that bundle, it's still not merger, which is another way it can test you. What if it's not a full bundle? You get most of your sticks, not all of them. There's some interest lurking out somewhere else. You don't have merger. It's only merger if it's a full bundle of sticks. There's no one else. You can quantify, here are the present interest, here are the future interest. All these interests belong to John or Daniel, whoever it is, and that's it. Question. Oh, it's been swivel. This is nice. I've never done this before. Okay. So the professors sit on these chairs. I don't know. I move around way too much. Yeah, listen.
Can you explain why we have to repeat this those last two lines again? Because you're pretty much repeating Baker has to be simple twice. I'm just confused. Why.
Where?
So the second line says Baker has future interest in remainder and be simple.
Right, but that's only after Alex dies. Right? That's only after Alex dies. With this second line, Baker no longer needs to wait for Alex's death. Baker will immediately have a fee simple because of the merger doctrine. Does that make sense?
So that's why you're saying you have to go line by
Sentence
line
by sentence. Punctuation is your friend. You need to use the punctuation to your advantage. Right? If it's comma, then it's probably going to be a remainder. Right? See over here it says to Alex for life, comma, then to Baker. If you see comma, then it's probably going to be a remainder. Not always, but it's a good shot to be a remainder. If you see a period after a life estate, it's probably going to be reversion back to the grantor. Again, these are not perfect rules, and don't take them as 100%, but it's a good way to get started. But punctuation is very, very important. So going back to Alyssa's question, Alex gave up his life estate. With merger, you immediately have fee simple. There's no need. Alex wants to be 120, it won't matter. You have fee simple right now for Baker. Everyone with me? An hour in on like 5 questions. But trust me, we're making good progress. This is actually good. I'm feeling you're with me, I think. I'm thinking you are. Questions? All right, let's try some more. All right, let's try doing polling and then just see independent. This wasn't, the system was not working earlier. I'm hoping it's working now. Oh, please work. All right, let's see if this works. You see it? Is it working? Yeah? Yes?
Yes.
Good, yeah, completely botched. All right, question number 1. Now, you see I wrote it 2 different ways. From O to A and his heirs. You will also see it as just to A and his heirs. They skip O altogether. I don't like writing like that, but you'll see. What does A have here? Okay, another 10 seconds. All right. Caitlin, what's the answer here? How do you know it's fee simple? It says what? What's the magic words? Now, if I designate someone A and his heirs, do we know who a person's heirs are? Louder.
Not necessarily.
When are a person's heirs determined?
Whenever A dies.
You're alive now, right? I hope so, right? Unless we're in like a Matrix or something, right? Oh, that movie. Do you want to see the 4th Matrix? It was bad. Oh my God, I'm pretending it never happened. I'm just gonna write that one up. It never happened. It was like a simulation or something. Oh God, I mean, that was so bad. I don't even understand what's going on. I could barely finish it. All right, Caitlin. So you're alive, right? Does a living person have heirs?
No.
A living person has no heirs. Okay, this is an important point on terminology. This is at the beginning of the reading for next class, actually. I'll do it now. A living person has no heirs. Okay. Heirs are only determined at your death. So you say, oh yeah, I'm grandma's heir. No, you're not. Grandma's still alive, right? People use like terminology completely incorrect in common, discussion, right? Only a dead person has heirs. Why? Because at any point you can change your will. You can rip your will up and make it new. Maybe you don't like your daughter, maybe you don't like your son, maybe you don't like your grandson, whoever it is, right? You can rip up your will and make a new one. Understood? No one who's alive has heirs. Now, some terminology. Okay. Becca, what does intestate mean? Not the things like in your guts. What does intestate mean? I'm sorry? It's in the reading, I think. That is the reading, yeah? Yeah, okay.
Without a will.
Good. Intestate means you die without a will. Okay, intestate means you die without a will. Like testimonial, in means not, there's no will. In this class, virtually everyone will die without a will. I am almost never going to ask you a question, oh, he has a will. Because that makes it too easy, right? If you have a will, it's easy because there's something to go on. Right? You'll take a class next semester, or maybe next year, I guess, on wills and trusts. But in this course, when you're dead, you have no will. You are a reckless person. And by the way, you should all get wills. I actually didn't get mine until like 2 years ago. I've been teaching property for a decade. I'm guilty. I know I have kids in the pandemic, but get a will. It makes your loved ones have a much easier time if you die. If you don't have a will, it gives pressure to people who are mourning. So just I think it's selfish. I mean, a lot of celebrities don't have wills. And it's really selfish because they don't have to deal with it during their life, but it creates such chaos. Like Prince, I think, was Aretha Franklin, I think, also didn't have a will. People who are very wealthy, who have a lot of property and assets, don't have wills. It just, people fight over it. And even if you have a will, they're still going to fight over it. So maybe don't make a lot of money, no one will care, right? If you're poor, no, it won't matter. But it's sure if you have nothing to inherit, then there's no problem. But you shall have wills. Even if it's all to my parents, all to my whatever, fine. But you can choose your heirs. You are not required to choose blood relative. You can choose your friend or your neighbor or your dog or a nonprofit. You can choose anyone you want for a will. Understood? So when you see this language, right, the heirs of A, A and his heirs, that doesn't literally mean the blood relatives of A. It means whoever A designates as his heirs, right? Or A can sell it. There's no requirement to keep it. Yes, Tony.
Question, very random, but the dog, you said you leave everything to your dog.
Yeah, you would have to basically create a trust for the benefit of the dog, to be precise.
So it can't use certain personal property, so
what you'd have to do is you have to basically create a trust for the benefit of the dog. So there'd be some human, like an adult, a person, who would administer a fund of money for the benefit of the dog to pay for his food and room and board and grooming and I don't know, whatever dogs need. Squeak toys, right? You would take care of the dog in his best interest. You can do that. Wealthy people leave funds for their pets. I'm not joking you. What was that, Monet?
There's a cartoon movie where that happens.
Oh, what movie was it? Anyway,
I don't remember what it's called.
But no, this is not just a movie. This is real. People leave money for their pets. It's crazy. I just that's crazy. That's mean. People do it. People do lots of things. I don't pretend to understand why people do what they do. I think it's a waste of time. It really is. All right. Everyone okay with that? All right. So that's the phrase intestate. Another phrase you need to know is issue. ISSUE, issue. Issue refers to descendants, right? People come from your bloodline, which literally means your kids, your children. Your son, your daughter, your grandson, your granddaughter, right? It's not your brothers and sisters. It's not your mom and dad. That's mom and dad's going up, brothers and sisters going horizontal, issues going down, right? These are different directions on your family tree, so to speak. Issue are your descendants, your children, grandkids, etc. All right. Ancestors go up, right? Mom, dad, grandpa, grandma, right? People who are above you in your family tree. These are the different terminologies that you should know. Okay. And one last terminology is collateral. Collateral. Collateral are blood that are not descendants, they're not ancestors. So that means brother, sister, nephew, uncle, aunt, cousin, niece, nephew, right? These are people who are not blood related. Spouse is a completely different story. Spouses are someone you marry. They're not, I always say this, they're usually not related by blood. I suppose they can be. Don't laugh. Look, I always say this, people don't like it. If you look at your family tree, there are going to be some cousins marrying. Trust me, I don't care what part of the world you come from. Because if you dig deep enough, there are cousins marrying. That's just how it was done. There wasn't Tinder back in the day. You knew who you knew. Look, you guys are wincing, but it's true. I'm giving you a fact. You don't like it, but it's true. Collateral are people who are not related by blood, but spouses are a different category altogether. Okay, with me so far? All right. Oh yes, am I? Spouses are in a category all by themselves, right? Actually, I'm going to do spouses next class. I don't have time to do it today. The example, the wife and everyone dies. We'll do that on Thursday. But I'm not done with class yet, so I have more stuff I want to do. Everyone get differences between heirs, issue, ancestor, and collateral? Jason and Caitlin.
Do ancestors start at a certain point above in the generational family tree?
You go up and up and up. So the reason why this matters, and I'm getting to this, let me come back to your question in a minute. Trey, I think your hand was up and someone else. Collateral are relatives who are not related by blood. I'm sorry, they are related by blood, but they're not descendants and they're not ancestors. So again, it's not going up your tree, it's not going down your tree, it's going sort of horizontal branch. Caitlin, was your hand up? Good. Okay, so now I'll come back to Jason's question, right? Why does all this stuff matter? Right? Why does all this stuff matters? Because of the Intestacy Statute. Right? What's the Intestacy Statute? Every state has a law that says if you die without a will, here's what we're going to do. And it lays out very specific formulas of who gets what. Because again, if you have a will, the courts will try as best as they can to follow the will and to, divvy up your property as you intended. Not always clear. For example, with the case from the reading. But if you do not have a will, the government's got to do something with your property. And they use this statute to divide it up. So now again, I'll do this in detail on Thursday. I don't want to rush it now because I don't have time. But your spouse gets a certain share. Your children get a certain share. What if you're not married? What if you don't have kids? Well, then they might track down your parents or your brothers and sisters, or maybe your cousins or your nieces and nephews. The government will try to track down someone to get your property. And the reason why these different categories, they take priority, right? The spouse always comes first, then come the issue, the kids, then usually come the ancestors, and then goes sort of collateral, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So you have to categorize where does someone fall to decide what kind of money they're getting. But in some, Gabriel.
Is there a hierarchy?
There is, and I don't want to give it to you because it's not necessary for this class. But usually it's spouse, then the issue, then the ancestors, and the collateral. That's usually what happens, but don't worry about that for this class. Right, because we will do this later in the semester. You can't write your spouse out of your will. If you do that, there are ways the spouse can come back at you. Right, so the spouse always gets his or her share. It's true. They, not always, but they usually do. It's very hard to write a spouse out of a will. Very tough. So again, spouse, issue, the ancestors and collateral. That's usually the sort of sequence, but that's sort of beyond the scope of what I need you to know. But what happens if there's no heirs? There are no heirs anywhere. Okay, there's a concept called a sheet. It's spelled E-S-C-H-E-A-T, a sheet. A sheet. I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure, but it's what we got. You're stuck with me, right? You can't swipe left once, so you're done. You can't. You're stuck. Neither can I, for that matter, right? Actually, it's funny. Students can pick the professors. We can't pick our students, as it were. It's true. So a sheet is what happens when a person dies with no heirs, no spouse, no issue, no ancestors, no collateral. This almost never happens because everyone has an heir somewhere if you dig far enough. There's some cousin, some distant relative, someone who you're related to. Okay, but in the event that there's no one, a sheet happens. What that means, the state takes the property. The state takes the property. I'm telling you now, if the answer in your exam is a sheet, you're wrong. That's not the answer I'm looking for. That's too damn easy. Right? I want you to do the hard work of figuring out who gets it. You're wrong if you think that's the answer. Why? Because there's always someone. Now, there was one case about 10 years ago, a crazy case. It was a person who survived the Holocaust. His entire family was exterminated. He had no family, no kids, nothing. He legit had no ancestors. He had no heirs. And he actually had a lot of money, and the state could not find anyone. And all these people come out, oh, that's my cousin. They start making stuff up. They lie. There's a lot of fraud. You guys know this, right? When money exists, there's people are nodding. People show up. It's like, oh, yeah, that's my cousin. Yeah, yeah. And they're all making it up. But if that happens, there's no heirs. The court says it goes to the state. Okay. Everyone with me? Yes, Anwar.
So for the statute, you said that everybody gets a share, right? So wouldn't it be?
I didn't say different amounts, and I'll do that next class. Okay. I don't have time for it today. But you divide up in different ways. Everyone get the idea of a sheet, right? Again, the answer in the exam is not going to be a sheet. If you write that, you're wrong. Every year, some wise guy writes it. He's like, oh, I'm so smart, no heirs. Unless it's like a zombie apocalypse, right, where everyone's dead, that's not the answer I'm looking for. It's true. There's always people. We're all related. If you go back far enough, everyone in this room, if you go back far enough, we're related. It might be a couple thousand generations, but we're related somehow. I don't know. All right. Let's try a couple questions, and we'll let you out. So look at question number 4A. Okay. From O to A for life, then to B for life. What interest does B have? All right. I think, Joel, you're next. Give another 10 seconds or so, or maybe 20 seconds. All right, Joel, help us out here. What's your answer? What does B have? First off, what does A have?
A has a present interest and life estate.
Okay, A has a present interest in life estate. What does B have?
Would it be a future present interest?
Whoa, a future present interest. No.
I don't know, I'm just making stuff up.
I appreciate your honesty, but why are you making stuff up?
Um,
Been sitting for 90 minutes studying this stuff. Take it one step at a time. What does A have?
a present interest in life.
Okay, A has a present interest in life estate. What comes after that life estate? Read it. What happens after the life estate?
Oh, it goes to B.
Okay, so what does B have? Do you have a present interest or a future interest?
Well, is A still alive, or is it a 10?
You're not getting this, are you?
No.
You want to come to our office after class?
What's that?
Want to come to our office after class?
Yes.
Okay, good. Angela, what does B have?
We have a future interest in remainder.
Uh-huh. Perfect. How do you know it's in life estate? Right. And how do you know it's remainder? And it follows a, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, very good. All right. B has a future interest and remainder in life estate. Did you all get that? At least most of you? This, by the way, is the same question we had a few minutes ago. I just changed A to Adam, or Alex to A. So if you didn't get this, it's doubly bad because we was like 30 minutes in this question. All right? Okay, now let's try 4B. What interest does O have? What's that? No, the poll's running. That's not your question. It'll be for Trey, I suppose. All right, Trey, what's your answer here?
O has a future interest in reversion and visa.
How do you know it's reversion?
Because O is the original transfer and it follows the last.
Correct. And how do you know it's in fee simple?
Because you have to begin with and just hold on.
Correct. O has a reversion. I'm sorry. O has a future interest in reversion in fee simple. We did this exact question before. Very good. Everyone get that? All right, let's try this last one. Question 5. This will take us into class. There are 2 transactions. Blackacre from O to A for life, comma, and to B and his heirs. Second transaction. A sells Blackacre to C. A dies. Who owns Blackacre? B owns Blackacre, or C owns Blackacre? All right, another 10, 15 seconds. All right, Colin, help us out here. What's your answer? Okay. So it says here, what's that? It says here, Blackacre from O to A for life. What does A have? In? Okay. And what does B have? Okay. Can A get rid of B's future interest? No. A cannot change B's future interest. That's a remainder set in stone. So then, Colin, when A sells Blackacre to C, what exactly is A giving to C? Per? Correct. Measured by whose life? Adam, or A is simply giving to C a life estate per attra V. He can't give anything more than that. And what happens, Colin, as soon as A dies? So C is out of luck. All C is getting is life estate per attra V. So the answer here is A. Correct. Let's see if you guys did. Okay, not bad. All right, so let me wrap up and let you guys out of here. We've only done 2 present interests. Life, estate, and fee simple. We're not done yet, guys. I have 30 seconds left. Give me my time. We have 2 present interests. If I'm still talking, you're still hopefully listening. We have 2 present interests. Life, estate, and fee simple. We have 2 future interests, reversion and remainder. That's it. It gets worse next class. We get more. They break down. Okay. If this isn't clear, come to my office today, now, like in a few minutes, 6:23. All right? Because if it's not clear now, you guys can be off the rails by next week. Thank you all. Have a good week, and I'll talk to you soon.